Hello and welcome to Lead at Any Level Live on this Monday, November 21st. It's Thanksgiving week. And I am so excited to be here with you today for Lead at Any Level Live. My name is Amy C. Waninger. I am the Inclusion Catalyst, and I'm the founder and CEO of Lead at Any Level. I want to welcome you to the show today, which I promise you will be brief. This week is a truncated week, and I have a lot to do to clear my calendar for those days I'm going to be off because I didn't mark them clear and people scheduled things for me on Thanksgiving Day, which will not happen. So if you have a meeting with me scheduled for Thursday, you're going to get an email from me in about 20 minutes saying, not happening. Let's talk next week. But I want to just share real quick something about this notion of quiet quitting and why I think inclusive leaders need to lead with gratitude. Now, if you haven't heard, there's this new way that leaders, I use that term loosely, big thinkers in the HR space are villainizing workers, and it's called quiet quitting. And maybe you've heard of this. When I heard the phrase quiet quitting, I misunderstood what it meant. I thought people were showing up to their jobs but not doing work. And I thought, oh, that's terrible, right? And I've seen that happen. And I'll be honest, I've done that a couple times myself because I knew that my work wasn't terribly important, or that doing the work would get me in more trouble than not doing the work, which is probably happening in your company if your company's large enough. Let's be honest about that. So what I thought quiet quitting is absolutely not what it is. Quiet quitting is this notion that people do their jobs and then they go home, or they put in their time and then they leave, and they don't give discretionary effort. And this is somehow being billed as an indictment of workers. And what I want to tell you is that's not the workers' fault at all. What I want people to understand about this notion of quiet quitting or workers only doing what they're being paid to do is that for years, managers, leaders have been saying, I don't have to thank them. I pay them to do their job, and that's all I need to do. And I'm wondering if you're joining me, if you've ever heard this phrase quiet quitting, or if you've seen evidence of it in your workplace or anywhere you've worked before. But I did hear for a lot of years, and still a lot of times we'll hear from managers, we don't have to go above and beyond for our people. We don't need extra benefits. I don't need to say thank you. I don't need to do all of these extra things to be a leader, because that's what people get paid for, and they should do their job. Well, you don't get to say as a leader that I don't have to do anything extra for my people to want to work for me, and then complain when the people who work for you don't want to do any extra. That's not how this is going to work. And if you've been of that mindset that we don't have to be grateful for employees so long as we pay them, I'm here to tell you that your days are probably numbered having those employees. So what I want to do is I want to flip this a little bit, and I want to talk about what leaders can do to show appreciation for their employees. This is the week of Thanksgiving in the United States. And, it's a good time to think about, how do we thank our employees? What above and beyond do we do for them that's meaningful to them, that lets them know that we appreciate the work that they do, up to and including what they're paid to do, but also beyond that? Are we showing appreciation all along the way? And one of the best ways to do that is to walk up to someone, or to call them, or to FaceTime with them, or, get them on a Zoom call, however you meet, and say, hey, I noticed that you did this particular piece of work, or you put in extra effort here, or you did something that was a stretch assignment, or you tried something new, or you took a risk, whatever the thing is, and be very specific about that thing and say, I want to tell you, I'm grateful to you for trying, or for getting the result, or for going the extra mile, or for putting in the extra effort, or whatever that thing is. Call them up, get them on the phone, get them on, screen share, and thank them for what they've done. And if you've never done that before, they might think it's a little weird. You might want to let them know when you set up the meeting, hey, I just want to say thank you. Do you have 5 minutes? And let them know that they're not being, they're not in trouble. They're not going to, time out. They're not getting put on a performance plan, that you really just genuinely want to spend 5 minutes thanking them for the effort they're putting in. And if you've never done that before, you need to prep them that it's a good thing that you're calling them, not freak them out right before the holidays. There's lots of layoffs going on. I'm just saying. The next thing that you can do after you've thanked people personally, and try to do that as frequently as you can. If you can do it once a week, if you can do it once a month, do that. It is so important to thank people. But also another thing you can do is write thank you notes. And this is something that you should try to do frequently, regularly. So maybe you buy a pack of 30 thank you notes on Amazon, and every day you make a point to send one thank you note out. This might be to someone on your team. It might be to a colleague or a peer. It might be to a manager. It might be to a mentor. It might be someone in your network outside of your entire organization. But send thank you notes, send gratitude in ways that people don't expect. Because when you do that, it makes their day. But it also kind of puts a little happy face next to you in their memories of you, and it helps them connect good feelings with you. It also helps you feel better about you, about the work that you're doing, and about the people around you. So showing gratitude is truly an act of leadership. And I want to make sure that I call out a couple of people today, or call them in really, that inspired me to do this. The first is a woman named Lisa Ryan. Lisa is a professional speaker and trainer. She's a member of National Speakers Association. And Lisa has a whole company um, founded on gratitude. It's called Gratigy, and it's gratitude strategy. She's amazing, and I've seen her speak at least one conference, and she just does this phenomenal work where she appreciates people in the audience, and she actually has people write in the moment, write a thank you card to someone that they work with. And it's really powerful as an activity, but it's also really profound to be sitting in a room full of people who are showing gratitude all at once. Privately in the writing that they're doing, but publicly in the act of writing. So I want to thank Lisa Ryan for setting that example for me and for so many people. I also want to shout out Cheryl Hickerson. Cheryl Hickerson is the founder of Females in Finance, and she runs this community of women who work in the financial services space, which is a space that can be very difficult for women to thrive in. And Cheryl writes, I believe, 3 to 5 thank you notes every day and puts them in the mail. I've gotten a few of them myself over the last couple of years, and it always brightens my day, Cheryl, when you send out a thank you note to me. So thank you for that. I owe you a few in return. I'm not always good about putting pen to paper, but that's one of my resolutions going forward, is to be better at that and to follow your example, because it really is meaningful. So wherever you are in your career, whether you have a leadership title or not, try showing gratitude. Try writing one thank you note a day, or one thank you note a week, or calling someone up and telling them how much you appreciate them. Sometimes just a text message might do it. Sometimes I'll sit there and be feeling grateful for someone, and I'll just send them a text message and just say, hey, wanted you to know I'm thinking about you and how grateful I am for our friendship, or something like that. And it's just a really good way to stay connected with people. It needs to be genuine. It needs to be sincere. It needs to be authentic, but it needs to happen. You have to do this as a leader. So please make it a point this week to show gratitude for someone, and then try to make it a point every week to do the same thing. Now, I'm so grateful for all of you for sticking with me. I told you it'd be brief today because I've got a lot of work to do this afternoon, but let me tell you about what's coming up this week. So as you know, Lead at Any Level Live happens every Monday at noon Eastern, right here on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. But on Thursday, you'll want to tune back in at noon Eastern, right where you're watching this. You'll want to tune in for the Including You podcast. Now, Including You is a video podcast where I interview chief diversity officers and other executives who are committed to advancing inclusion in their workplaces. And this week, let me tell you who I've got. One second while I find my list. This week, I have Tony Holmes. Tony is a leader at United Way Houston. And in this episode, we talk about knowledge and self-awareness. And he has a really interesting take on this in his organization, where they actually track self-awareness as a metric that people are evaluated on. So it's pretty interesting stuff. Thank you, Tony, for being on the podcast. I appreciate you as well. So that'll be available on Thursday at noon Eastern, wherever you're watching this video. And then on Friday, it'll be available as an audio podcast through Living Corporate. Anywhere you get podcasts, you can search for Living Corporate, and Including You is the Friday series within that podcast stream. So you'll want to tune in there if you haven't already. Now, this week being a holiday week, I don't want to create all new videos for the 4 o'clock hour. Every day at 4 o'clock, I post leader tips And I want to do that this week as well. So I'm going to try to find a replay. We're going to do a rerun of the leadership series, and I'll put something out there, or I might do 5 ways to show gratitude this week. To your team or to your colleagues. But either way, you want to tune in at 4 p.m. Eastern every day this week for a new episode of Leader Tips. Let me know in the comments, if you would, someone that you are grateful for. Tag them in the comments and tell me why you're grateful for them. And I'll do the same thing today. I've got 3 people in mind: Lisa Ryan, Cheryl Hickerson, and Angel Henry, that I want to tag and say that I'm thankful to them. And also Tony Holmes for being my guest this week. So that's 4. Maybe I come up with another one between now and when I get the videos up today. But thank you so much for sticking it out with me. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking, what you're grateful for, who you're grateful for, and why, because it is the season of giving thanks. And I would love it if we could all end the year with a little bit more gratitude in our hearts. We've been through a lot the last couple of years, and sometimes it helps to focus on the positives, focus on the things that are keeping us afloat. So I hope you will do that. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you next week with another edition of Lead at Any Level Live. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.